And now we get to see, Borax, like you were saying, he had an incredible Grimstroke. Now is more than likely on the Pudge because they did play it as a position 4 last time. I wonder if there's some flexibility from them here. I mean, we know Arme, this China
no
region.
Storm.
Yeah.
No Storm though, so the pairing is disrupted. Will they Sven? No, they'll Bloodseeker. I was kind of thinking that maybe IG might have tried to Bloodseeker if they still kept like the Wind Ranger was still in the pool, but they're changing things up a little bit. They're wanting to take away some of that threat with the Void Spirit, of course. You still take a lot of damage when using that Astral Step.
And it gives them some flexibility now as well. Like you can put you can put the Bloodseeker as a position 1, put him in the 3, Rupture, mediocre way to help. Oh, was him like 1 IO maybe? I don't. Actually, yeah, IG, they ran the IO with the Ursa. Okay, now I remember. So this is the second time they've done it. And back-to-back Ursa games though for Firefly.
It's better this game, I think. It's still not super easy, right? Because you're going to lay down the blood right. At least you've got the Earth Shock for a little bit of that extra mobility. But I feel like that makes your movement kind of predictable. And that could be a great place to set up for a hook in the laning stage, right? So they might have been looking to land these blood rights. They just want to make sure that Firefly's movement is very telegraphed. And then it's just... kind of easy to set up into exactly what you want.
Sven stands ready.
There's the Sven.
And are you a bit worried though that they picked the Ursa into the Bloodseeker? Like this is quite... We saw what Magma did this, right? I'm pretty sure, where they went like Pango and then the Bloodseeker answered that, and then they went Ursa. And Ursa had quite the horrific game, considering how you just very much rely on your positioning, and Bloodseeker can take that away with one ability.
It feels like Aster can almost always take team fights on their terms, and maybe they only want to do it when Borax is able to land a hook. Otherwise they don't really want to be rushing in onto the high ground. Maybe if he gets like a Blink Dagger on this Pudge and gets to start a fight with a Dismember on like a Void Spirit right now, because they're lacking stuns on IG. There's really no way prior to Coddle getting a Will-O-Wisp for them to interrupt any kind of initiation like that outside of a relocate coming from the IO.
Yeah, and we saw big issues in game 1 with how they weren't able to find these avenues into the team fights. So maybe going back on some of the issues that were there, and they haven't really worked on it so far from IG. Luckily enough, you get a lot of your stuns in the position 3, and that's what they're looking for at the moment. You really want a way to set up as well for these IO relocates. So a Sand King could be a capability here. The Coddle matchup, so the Coddle pairings definitely not too bad. I'm just trying to think of any other stunning 3s as well.
I mean, it's games like these that I really wish Dawnbreaker was in Captain's Mode, because I think this would be a great Dawnbreaker game for IG right now. It gives them more global presence. It means that you can protect against like the Void Spirit getting gone on. But unfortunately, Daddy Gaben says we're not worthy just yet for Thick Thighs new Valkyrie style hero. Sad.
So sad. I was expecting it to come out, but unfortunately for IG, they can't go for Dick Dies, and gonna have to still find their JT hero here in the position 3. I mean, maybe they can flex the Void. I really don't think that's gonna be the case. So the lot for the Night Stalker, another hero that really relies on positioning with the... So the rupture,
again, like you just rupture him, like you could run away. I mean, I suppose you can't rupture anyone, but eventually you're going to get to the stage where this is another Aghanim Scepter game that XXS is going to be able to pick up, and they're going with a Magnus. Okay, something a little different. I'm not sure how it's changed considering the more recent Void Spirit buffs, but historically Magnus bodies Void Spirit in that mid lane.
Like I would usually say that any like physical damage dealing mid is not going to do as well versus the Void. Like he should do fine, but the Resonant Pulse enables you to trade pretty well thanks to the absorption. But any melee matchup, you can just have such an easy way to skewer back into the tower, which is pretty much like a second hero in the lane. So this is not going to be easy at all. I mean, now you have a huge steroid for Sven, and now you kind of have a wave for XXS. Like I really wonder if he goes first item Aghanims because of how incredibly good it is this game. Like it's just legitimately going to counter Void, Ursa, and Night Stalker. And if you go that item, it doesn't really help with your farm, but guess what? You got a mag that can kind of enable you a little bit.
And not that they're going to be grouped up together. I think it'd be a huge positioning mistake from IG if Emo, JT, and Flyfly are all grouped together, but you get that initiation. That's 3 melee heroes, technically, that are all locked together. So I think with their movement, JT, of course, he needs to be kind of curling around to the backline. Emo just goes straight in, just beelines completely towards, I would probably say, the Lich, try and take him out first, because of how much sustain you're going to be able to provide, right? We haven't even talked about that, right? Lanham's Lich, the Chain Frost, great against all these melee heroes. You know, Io is going to be tethered up to someone, so you've almost guaranteed to get off a bunch of bounces in these team fights. And then even when it gets to the later stages, one of the things that I love about Lich this patch is that every one of his spells is incredibly strong at one point of the game. So the Frost Blast, for example, very strong in lane, allows you to trade really effectively. As you get to the mid game, the Sinister Gaze enables setup for kills. Now, even only with the 1 value point, it still costs only 80 mana and has 600 range. And then when you get later on, especially when you talent into it, the Frost Armor negates 70% of the damage that's coming your way and slows. I mean, what could you possibly want against all of this physical damage that IG have in their arsenal?
Yeah, I feel like the hero that we haven't really seen as much, and I thought we were going to see the Lich a little bit more in regards to the I League here. Have you seen it like in ESL or any of those boys over there picking up a decent amount?
What's this, the Lich?
The Lich, yes.
Not really. I mean, again, I'm on full degen hours with my sleep schedule, but haven't seen it all that much. I think it's underrated still. Smoke's gonna pop though. Kaka, he backs off. At least he's got the good movement speed, so he's not gonna get caught out.
So how are we feeling about this draft though? Because it does feel like Aster, we still have to call it out. Like this is definitely an experimental draft. They have a Pudge 4 for crying out loud. Like yes, they've won a game with it previously. It also has to be said that that was against the team that got knocked out in the group stages in Aster Aries. So like how experimental would you feel like it's going to work for Aster? Like yes, we're huge fans of the Bloodseeker, but do we like what IG kind of dishing out here in the second game?
I mean, but maybe that was the experiment, and this is the one where they're like, okay, we got this. You know, this is the one that's going to work. I think they actually scouted out this mid observer ward, by the way. JT was just caught at the end of his smoke running north above this this staircase here, so I wonder if they're going to go for a quick D-ward on that as Borax goes for the hook onto the bounty rune. Of course he gets it. He's a Pudge and doesn't cost him any mana.
How do you counteract that? Like, what do you do?
Just put an IO in the way and have him tether out, I guess.
Oh,
is the only option.
All right. So they're actually going to swap up the lanes here. They want Flyfly and Ollie going up against 1-8 with the Sven, which it looks like they might get. They haven't seen anyone. So Radiant were already setting up for some lane swapping shenanigans with that deep observe ward up top.
It's going to be a weird dynamic on this bottom side because it's two lanes that want to both shove into each other. You know, the Bloodseeker, of course, with the Blood Right, able to do that. The Keeper of the Light, of course, can just keep it pushed in. I think even though you might have the worst part of the laning stage here on IG, you're still going to get a decent amount of experience early on as well. I think they go for a kill attempt here with Lanham TPing up towards the top side, but good positioning from Flyfly and Ollie. TP start to come. If you could get a hook off, that would be huge, but not quite yet.
Ollie's like, wait. Hang on, brother. You were supposed to stay here with me. I needed a tether partner, and now I give up first blood because you. Come on, what's going on? And I love it.
There's 4 Aster heroes top at the moment.
Yeah. So, who's dodging who right now? Like, who wants the matchup? It looks like Monet wants to go against the Ursa. So, are you on board with that? You feel like this is much easier for them instead of the Bloodseeker into him?
I think the Bloodseeker into him is totally fine, to be honest. I guess they're just wanting to respond. Like, sometimes it's not always about what you want to do. It's about the mental warfare, right? Where Flyfly TP'd away from the lane and he's like, oh no, I'm not letting you get away that easy. And so he just goes down there and says, you know what? I'm just going to man fight into you. I got the first blood as well, so I'm going to have a little bit of a better time in the laning stage.
Yes, the one lane that's set in stone at the moment. Who knows what the heck can happen with all the lane swaps we've been seeing. But we got White Album taking on Emo. And wait, that's an interesting question mark, Emo. You see that?
Question mark?
Yeah,
oh, you mean the shape of it?
Yeah, the shape. It was well, even the
G. Do you think he's got his own like little portfolio of question marks?
I reckon he has just a bunch of different question marks on his keyboard. Oh, okay. Well, he's also in immense amount of pain here. I reckon he's got like all the macros on different question marks. You know, one like slightly, one slightly bolder than the other, I should say, and then, you know, the other italic.
Some italics.
Underlined. Yeah, I reckon maybe he's really leaned into it.
Any artists out there, be sure to reach out to Emo to commission a question mark for yourself.
Huh. Well, yeah, he's really not having fun versus the +1 hero that the tower can provide, the Magnus in the lane, and who's got the faster movement speed? It is just Mag. Shockwave up.
Ooh, he went for the guess, didn't quite land though.
Hey, guess what? Fun lane. Yeah, cool. Back to base he goes, so Emo's lane is pretty much over. White Album is just going to free farm this. He's already got Glover Haste coming out pretty shortly, so I have a very, very greedy draft. And do you feel like, though, this could be an issue? Because both Sven and Mag want to be playing around the triangle. Oh, held that thought. Fly, he's, yep, still not having a good time. There's Borax. He's 2 for 2 right now with the hooks. I feel like we can, we want to do hook counts. I'm always a fan of hook counts, especially with, you know, a start like this on Borax.
Are we talking about landed hooks or just hooks thrown overall?
Both, right? What? He's
like a percentage.
Yeah. He's 2 for. I mean, if he misses the next one, he's 2 for 3.
Let's count the bounty rune hook as well. I'd say he's 3 for 3 right now.
Well, okay, he just hooked the centaur creep. Are we counting that one? That's not hard to miss. Neither is the bounty.
All right, 4 for 4. Let's go.
4 for 4, dude. This is why they're picking the Pudge. I understand now. This Mirana-esque style of position 4. It's so crazy how they gave this to him as well.
You can even get rid of siege creeps. Like, it's great.
Very true. Dude, we had some very questionable Pudge plays in one of our excursions into our games. That was, that's a value ban right there. If anyone's looking to play, and that is quite the value ban.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. Come on, Borax. Step up your game. You missed a really key hook there, which might have been enough to keep XXS alive, and well, now is it going up? Again, IG have always, this is something I really like from IG, is that whenever they're behind and they're, you know, maybe their cores in particular, they really like to give that kill over, just because the 170 gold, it's huge. Like, not enough people will put emphasis on that. Like, that might just get him a little bit closer to the phase boots with the rough start that he's had.
Oh, potentially, but I mean, it is still the concern that you don't really have anyone that wants to take Ancients right now, so a big reason why the Coddle is so strong is that you're able to stack up for something like a Sven or a Deucer or a Clinks, whoever wants to be able to take it, and, I mean, you're not going to get all of that passive stack gold coming through for Kaka. So the laning stage might go alright, as well, he's putting himself in a position to get hooked there, but I suppose there was no follow-up. But yeah, I feel like you're gonna be. This isn't gonna be one of those insanely farmed Coddle games that we've seen a few times.
You say that. I don't know. Somehow this hero keeps surprising me. Somehow he continues to be higher net worth than a lot of cores once we get to the late game.
JT was saving up that third skill point up until the 5-minute mark, so now that it's nighttime, he puts it into the Hunter in the night, just for that extra bit of movement speed, extra harass coming through, and trying to bully Monet a little bit.
We'll trade the kill at least. Borax seems to be pretty happy with at least sacrificing his life there with the hook on point once again, so he's having a very good start on the Pudge, which definitely feels like it's a, you know, snowballing type of hero with at least confidence. I think confidence is one of the big things for Pudge players.
Yeah, he'll take that out of the 3. Are they going to go for the suck here? Yep, the 0 sec, like it's instant basically, that Sinister Gaze, so you can oftentimes catch people out with just how quickly you're able to lock them down. And the stacks are just continuing to build up in this dire triangle. And of course, you've got the Sven approaching his level 6 for the God Strength. I'm sure he's going to opt to give that over to,
mid lane.
Who knows, actually, is Emo. He's getting gone on again.
RP drop. That was, previously, Emo had shown that he could get out of the skewer just because of the value point into Simulate, which pretty much gets you out of tower range. But only issue is now, if you've got a second way to drag him back in the hook, that he continues to not miss, and if you drop the RP for that as well, you're more than happy with that.
How's this Observer Ward, by the way, in their own triangle, just to see? We're so reliant on it. You know, we've got a Magnus, we've got a Sven. Let's see if they're looking to block it up. And, well, they've scouted out that Ollie made the rotation through. And he's probably going to pay his life for it. He doesn't... No, he does have a TP, but you got the Sinister Gaze, so he's not going to be able to get away in time.
Jeez, dude. Frost Blast does so much damage. Like, it's still one of the best nukes in the game early, on level 1 especially. Now he's got level 2, and that skyrocketed in damage.
Yeah, he'll get the 7-minute stack off as well in his tri-camp. So, Lanham, he's having a great time.
Let's hope,
you lagging as well?
Yeah.
Oh no, I've been booted.
It's alright, we're back in. Good, luckily enough that it's not at the end of the game where we have that 5-minute delay and maybe we've missed the rejoin. So we're all chilling. Oh, what do you know? Bloodseeker and Pudge is dead.
We got to rewind and have a look at that, or
we can.
We might miss the next play after that though if that happens.
Wait. I can't, because you can only do it from when you joined.
Yeah. Yep. From what you were watching.
Yeah.
Feels bad. Well.
Let's keep up with this one down bottom.
Oh, another one. JT, bottom side. He's not going to be able to get away in time, and that God Strength, good value. Monet still has slightly more than half of the duration on it, but doesn't opt to go back into the triangle to be able to take that Ancient stack. I guess they're not really at risk of losing it to IG's side, so they don't mind all that much. So in 80 seconds or so, another hook! Borax, you absolute madman!
Continue to stack up the kills, and once he gets that flesh heap, Borax gonna be happy. Oh, Night Stalker, you sure you want to come down to this lane? Borax has been on point so far. He has the assistance of Emo.
The saving hook.
Doesn't matter if it's an enemy, doesn't matter if it's a teammate. Borax is on point so far. The big issue is maybe with the hook cooldown, that's the only way they can slow down this madman, because now they can chase for Lenham next. This nighttime advantage and Emo continuing the dive. Unfortunately for Borax, he doesn't have the heroes to help out with the damage in that hook, so he will still fall nonetheless. And top lane as well, XXS battling with Fly. A big advantage on the Ursa though, with this consistent sustain coming through from Io, but that is not enough to keep his life.
Yeah, when you're brawling that often and able to get him that low, it means that XXS,
album?
he's moving like a race car.
Might have enough meta with Intel Tread soon, but what? It was... Oh, okay. Interesting.
That's a little deep.
Yes. Now I'm on 8. Emo's still stuck around. He's got the physical damage mitigation thanks to the Frost Shield. And now Emo, still one more charge, Borax. Let's see if he can line it up. Oh, sidestepping Emo consistently. The only issue is that he's not going the straight line to get as much distance away from Lenham, who ends up bringing down Void Spirit.
They got any vision down here? I don't think they do just yet on Borax, but finally, Monet uses his God Strength. He's got the Greater Cleave maxed out. No points in the Warcry just yet, which will make taking the Ancient a little harder. But he should still be just fine with that Mask of Madness picked up.
Then there's a juicy stack. Any neutral items for him? He's got the Chip Vest at the moment. Dude, have they got all 5? Yeah, they've got all 5, okay.
I think that's the Lich as well, did the majority of the stacking there, so he's going to be able to get a good amount of farm as, well, the Chain Frost, again, bouncing around, didn't get onto Ollie in the time, so good timing with the use of the tether, but
Ollie, please.
He's going to drop down.
Oh, no. Oh, Ollie. I'm waiting for it. Oh, dude, Borax, can I get the Dismember? He can! This guy's crazy! Don't give him the pudge, he's showing why.
Oh, you love to see it. Just one of these niche picks that ends up working, right? Like, sure, XXS isn't having the greatest time on the top side, but it's generally okay. He's gone into the Maelstrom, which, I mean, I guess he just wants to be shoving out waves a little bit. They are lacking that somewhat. considering, you've got the Magnus that doesn't have a ton of mobility, the Sven, you don't want to be putting your position 1 into a super vulnerable spot, and they've got no one that's got like a Blink or a Dissimilate or, Remnant on a Storm or an Ember Spirit, for example. So maybe they just want to put him into a lane, shove it out, and quickly push it with the Maelstrom, but I feel like after that, he just needs to go straight Axe.
Yeah, I'm actually really intrigued by this from XXS. Is he's getting no farm. Wait, he actually might be dead. Kaka! Dude, this dead. Oh my god, Illuminate is actually...
Alright, scratch that. Kaka's got more farm than both Emo as well as JT.
Yeah, very cool. So hang on, what were you saying earlier? Sorry?
The game is still young. That anything can happen.
Yes. Kaka 4th in net worth on your Keep the Light. How crazy is that? Cool hero. And now again, IG. Very early Roshan with Ursa, and Aster aren't in a position to scout this out. They're in a position to try and kill off JT. Let's see if the Dark Ascension free flying is going to be enough for him to hold the life, and it is. And again, it's just very similar to game 1, where it's an ultimate committed bot to make an immense amount of space, and they might be too late to the party.
Got Lich coming. Chain Frost available. Delays it long enough though.
Emo still, it's ruptured up, so there's no escape unless they can rely on the relocate.
Oh, look at that Chain Frost go.
Immense amount of work at the moment. There's Ursa. They're still pushing on forward, and she doesn't have any backup.
And it's going to come straight back. Still flying around the Chain Frost.
Look, off the mark, unfortunately, JT. Even getting involved
by
as
surprise.
well.
Look, Chain Frost about to hit now.
I had no idea what, I'm like, hang on, Chain Frost? Where's Chain Frost? I don't see no Chain Frost. In base, what's going on? Oh, Emo, lot of bursts. Just clean off the Lich. And a Mac, he actually jumped into the AoE silence, so he was looking for a big RP to reposition the fight there in their favor. Unfortunately for Aster, end up losing out on 2.
At least they immediately get rid of that Aegis. The Ursa in a vulnerable position. It was a good relocate out by Ollie. And again, you could stack up this ancient camp as much as you want, but Ollie's not going to take it very quickly, even with, Fly backing him up.
That's exact.
Yeah, I mean, feels like Dire they're going to scale so well into the late game. I mean, you got BKB piercing control on both your Mag and also Bloodseeker. You've got position 3 that's looking to scale as well with this itemization on XXS. I mean, he's very, very poor. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's going to need some me time for probably the next 5 minutes at least. But can we see IG still looking to increase the tempo in the next 5 minutes?
I mean, you've got nighttime coming soon,
Just
right?
jump on Borax.
Kill onto Kaka, actually.
Kill off the Pudge, and then Kaka, meanwhile, is going to force. So that was relocate for the kill. And so who got that? Fly got it. Meanwhile, Monet got it as well. So both position ones.
I mean, delaying out that Will-O-Wisp is so important. He's already built up the Ogre Axe component. Of course, that extra 200 health, not enough to be able to make him survive, but I feel like the amount, as much as you can delay that prior to the BKBs coming out, the better you're going to be.
Dark Ascension. Looking to try and chase down Lenham as Emo leading the charge as well, hand in hand from the Night Stalker. They're going to be careful if they group up, because the Chain Frost could pay big issues here as Lenham's able to reset out of the silence and XXS. Oh, just getting that little bit of rupture tick damage. There was no escape for the Night Stalker, and there seems to be no escape for Emo as well, as White help him jump in. Beautiful shockwave, drags back the IO to set up for the double skewer back, and Monet, boy, he's got all the AoE damage required.
I really like that as well. An instant reaction coming out from Lanham, and as well as this fan. As soon as they heard that Dark Ascension popped, Warcry, instant Frost Shield. They didn't want to put themselves in any kind of risk of getting quickly jumped on by the Void Spirit before they're able to get their spells off for that little bit of extra protection. It enables Lanham to be able to survive, and then, yeah, they're able to turn it around and get a triple kill.
I'm still very worried that there's a high tendency on Mag lineups to be super greedy and need like the first 15 minutes just to be out farming and not really making as many plays, but it's actually Aster with the kill advantage, and this is where IG really want to try and bring themselves back into the game, but they are not looking like they're in a position to do so, and heading to the late game, I'm worried that they won't get a foothold.
All right, so that Maelstrom's finished up. Actually going into the Gleipnir, okay. A little bit of extra control, I suppose, just to be able to lock people in place. It synergizes well with a lot of the heroes right now. They're not going to have the Dark Ascension, but it is still nighttime. So JT looking to try and do a little bit of scouting here. Don't think they're going to find anyone important just yet. Good positioning by Aster's heroes, playing behind their towers so they can immediately rotate through to safety.
I mean, exactly what I was just saying previously, like, Mags want to be farming, and Brady recognizing this, we're taking the tier 1, dropping some very deep vision as well. But
he can get active super soon though, right? Like, he's got his Blink Dagger, he's got his RP available on the Magnus, and he's only 500 gold away from the Echo Saber. So it's not like he's just some farm bot. You can get so much action done just with a couple of items on a mag.
100%. Yeah, and you see the itemization too. Like, sometimes it's the Echo Saber first, which means you can't be as active, but he actually opted for the Blink first, recognizing that, you know, maybe I'll play less greedy this game and let the Sven free farm, and it's definitely showing the net worth with Monate being on top. I think they just got a little bit of vision on Fly.
Will the Suck get in play? No.
Blink, it might just have to TP out because they're actually going to...
They got Blink.
Converge on his area, his White Album. Oh, just in the RP range. It looks like he was on the outskirts there, but Monet, he's even just going to try and hit the neutrals. Just try and, you know, maximize the efficiency. Kill the Ancients and also kill the Ursa.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
They gonna run into JT? And Monet? Maybe not with the nighttime vision, so... Any big items that we see? Oh, Karkar's got the Aghanims coming out shortly. Anything but that from Invictus Gaming that they might look to go with?
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I'm honestly looking a bit less at IG and what they're looking to pick up and more towards what Aster has. You know, do they have the tools to be able to respond to that Will-O-Wisp? They've got the BKB on Monet on this top side, although he's not going to be part of this next
Emo.
Yeah,
Sinister Gaze start, then the instant Dismember follow-up, the chain lockdown perfect, and again, you were highlighting this Sinister's Gaze. I feel like we're going to continue to see the value from the Lich because of the instant stun that it's able to provide you. Just a great setup versus, you know, some pesky heroes like the Void. They're going to look for their own rebuttal as a jump in from Fly, cleaning up the tanky Pudge.
And that's the first Will-O-Wisp, so it's revealed, only at the cost of Borax though, so I don't think you're minding all that much, and yep, the rotation coming through together. All three heroes clumped up. You don't mind that, you know, there's no real, at least until the Void Spirit's got his Aghanim Scepter, threat for just popping everyone together. Sure, you might get Will-O-Wisp, but there's no follow-up control coming through. Again, they are seriously lacking in stuns right now on IG's side. So you can just turn around, whack the Will-O-Wisp a few times, and then have free reign to take the team fight however you want.
And it's going to get even more difficult as well with the Borax Pudge picking up the 4-star. So you just highlighted the lack of stuns they have. You know, how are you going to lock on top of a hero when Pudge can give that protection to a core, and even Lich might even opt for a defensive item next?
I kind of want to see the Ags come out from the Lich next.
Is it
I want to see it in
though?
a pro game. It's great, man. Against all of this melee? I guess you kind of need to play a little bit more defensively against the Night Stalker, though. Damn it. Alright, go Scepter. Go Scepter's the one.
The AoE Sinister Gaze sounds great. I don't know why they added the Sinister Gaze lets you cast other abilities while channeling it in the Aghanims. Like, it just feels like that's like I don't know. I feel like
memes.
they could have memes. All right. I feel like they could have added that on something else because I sort of know if we're gonna see the Lich Ags too much.
It's definitely like a luxury item. It's like a third or fourth item, which as a position 5, you're kind of not gonna get that all that often.
Invisibility.
Yeah, that's by this stage. I mean, you have to. That's probably game over by that stage, or at least your team's got a 20k lead and you don't know what to do with gold.
It's good for sucking them out of the fountain, though. You know, you don't actually need to be able to target someone. So when you got that Aether Lens, you got the extra cast range, suck them out of the fountain, and then cast your Chain Frost while it's all happening. Great way to secure yourself a rampage, just to rub salt into it.
Oh, okay. I see. I understand. Oh. Skewer to set up for the hook, and This is a cool combo that they've run at the moment. Looks like with that pick off, they want to kind of tempt the map with the smoke here and so they can catch out with Kaka and Fly. They're at the triangle at the moment, and well, they're the targets. And meanwhile, JT's also showing mid. So White Album again. No need to drop the RP. Let's just screw him back to the huge cleave in the sword.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
He's sticking around here. It's daytime, so he will be able to get his blink away. Longish Roche respawn timer, so Aster, they're not going to be rewarded in that fashion, but at least they'll get the top tier 1 tower.
Radiant's top
This
tower is
Gonna
under
assist for
attack.
when Roche does happen.
Radiant structures
Alright,
are
so
fortified.
IG... Well, Emo's got a blink dagger. So, can you give me any of your in-depth analysis on why Void's gone for this blink? Is he just really looking to delay for 10 minutes and hope they hit items? Like, I'm not quite sure what this provides him.
Okay, so I'm thinking of 2 potential ways. Delay the game in shoving out lanes. Like I said before, it's one of the few weaknesses that Aster's draft has, in that they've got no one that they can just put out in a dangerous lane and just try and shove it in. You know, force defense to come through so that you're not being run down, so you're not getting your objectives taken away from you. Blink Dagger allows you to have that, right? Like, you've already got the Astral Step, you've already got the Dissimulate, you've already got the Yule Scepter, you're very survivable, but then you've just got another thing to add on top of that. But also, in these team fights, even if someone gets hooked dismembered, you've got the ability to blink in on the back lines, get a Yule
that
Scepter
thought,
or an
Monet.
Aether Remnant off.
On the front line here, let's see if he can pop the BKB, but again, the hook to replace Monet to back to safety. They're going to try and
Again,
use the
they're just
magic
taking
community.
fights where they want.
It's so difficult right now for IG to lock these targets in. Feels like they just have to...
Dire's structures are
Consolation prize will be Borax, but
fortified. Tower is under attack.
this was a bit of a heavy commitment with 5 heroes for that.
It was. It's only 15 seconds left, though, on the Dark Ascension. That's what Aster are waiting for. They're waiting for it to tick out, and then they can feel very confident in taking this next fight. Observer Ward removed. They've got no vision.
This next fight could be make it or break it from Invictus Gaming. They cannot give over the second Roche. It is something that is so costly for Ursus, and well, unfortunately Fly is trying to farm like a madman. He recognizes he needs his BKB, even selling whatever he can to try and pick that up. Is about 150 gold away, so should be able to have it at least by then.
It's desperate, but he's finally got it. Coming out to him now. You've got the Pudge, though, who's looking to join his team as quickly as he can.
Radiant's bottom
Top side,
tower is under
just
attack.
getting a nice free hook in onto a creeps. Why not? He's going to look to join his team, smoke up, use the advantage that you have, considering it is daytime.
Radiant. I need someone to pop the smoke, and well, Fly, I don't know if he's the target to do so. This is going to wait a blink, reset his positioning. Unfortunate for the Karkar's Coddle is in trouble. They're going to drop the Ignis, but Oli on the Ira has no escape. So they'll get a kill, and maybe into Roshan they go on Aster.
Yep, one pick off, into Roche, God Strength used. It is still a little risky, I suppose. 45 seconds left until the nighttime, though. It's going to be a hard ask for IG to try and respond to this one, especially now that they're already 4v5. And just look at White Album's positioning. He's wanting to put himself in on the front lines. He knows he's a tanky strength hero with his BKB.
They're going to jump.
They're going for it.
But the Atos instantly to answer the Void Spirit. Emo just getting cleaned up here as Monet will pick up the Aegis. They want more blood as well, as Karkar's going to be the next target. No messing around from White Album. Let's just drop the RP, get rid of the Coddle, and try and take an objective afterwards.
Felt like a bit of a desperation play, if I'm being real. You know, they're just trying to get something to be able to bring themselves back into this game. They even give the Horn Toss to the Mag with that Aghanim Shard. So an extra way to be able to create a little bit more havoc in these team fights. Versus available. Just delaying some of his damage there with the toss. But yeah, I mean, this feels like IG are just searching for answers where, well, it doesn't seem like there might be any.
This is definitely not the IG that we saw yesterday when they 2-0'd Elephant. Like, they looked incredible in that series, and we're just seeing a night and day difference from them, unfortunately, and I really do not believe it's going to get any easier, especially with these fresh items picked up. Assault Cuirass on 1-8, Galik Near on XXS.
I don't even think it was a bad draft from IG. I mean, sure, they're lacking a little bit on stuns, but I just feel like Aster's was very good. And, you know, a little ironic to say that when a Pudge is coming out, but I feel like this last pick Magnus is exactly what they needed, just to provide excellent control against a bunch of different melee heroes and an IO that's going to be tethered together most of the time. Gives you that great laning stage matchup against the Void Spirit, and then the Bloodseeker. I mean, the biggest weakness for the day for mine has been the Ursa, who, speaking of, might be getting gone on here.
This time he doesn't have Blink. Dude, what is the range?
Huh? Yeah, instant.
That's huge. Firefly, they just get the relocate. Oh my, that was so close. Are they gonna come over? JT's looking to converge. Got Karkai nearby as well. I think it might be a little bit too late, and yeah, no, they won't get nearby fast enough to help Oli on the reset.
You died nobly.
He's not even holding any cast range neutral items, by the way. Nethershore. How often do you go up against, like, an Ursa and a Night Stalker who you know are going to be coming in onto you, and you have the freedom with the amount of space that your team's created for you to know, you know what, 3 armor, don't need it. I'm going to be just totally fine.
Oh, they called out emo top. Borax with the full control, and White Album didn't even have to drop the RP. I believe he set up with the Orchid reveal there. So... there's continuing just to be pick-off after pick-off across the map, and they're even sweeping more into the jungle. It's Lenham. He's going to run into 2 heroes he probably doesn't want to. More important target is Monate, though, completely burned out of his mana. He's got this extra life to play with. See if his compromised position now from the Sven, XXS will give him some assistance. It might cost the Bloodseeker his life, but the Rupture not holding back Firefly at the moment. He's going to get hooked on the high ground. BKB pop, but Firefly still looking to try and stand his ground. And Manfire, so finally rooting with the first life. White Album instantly. A BKB turns to deal with the RP. Now Monet, it's got the follow-up of the cleave as well. We'll find the second. They're going to jump on forward for Karka. They can't control up the Coddle, but hey, that doesn't matter because they can control up the ball.
And that was a hook onto... Honestly, it didn't matter who it hit, right? If it hits the Bloodseeker, you save him. If it hits the Ursa, he had the Rupture on him. So dealt a ton of damage, even through the Enrage, because of the amount of pull distance you were able to get off with that meat hook. Nicely done again by Aster. And they're just going to continue pushing it forward, in onto the Tier 2 tower. The single range creep's going to be enough to break the backdoor protection.
So overall, have we been impressed with Borax's Pudge?
I lost count of the...
Oh, I stopped counting it like... Yeah, I stopped counting about 5 minutes into the game. That's all good, that's all good.
So... Okay, I was like... Why did Ladham die previously? Because he had enough mana to buy the Ghost... the money to buy the Ghost Scepter previously, but I think he actually ended up buying a gem and giving it over to White Album here, just because, you know, you've got the mobility to get onto the high ground, which no one else does. Blink Dagger, skew it down, and just able to remove so much of the information that IG has, even though they don't really have much of any. Ironically enough, they might end up catching him out if he ventures into his triangle here. The ward just placed a little bit too low, though, that it's not going to clip in onto him, although...
He's just going to BKB TPR. I do not believe he might stick around and turn with the TPs, actually.
Used.
Yeah, they even brought an extra assistance in Oli, but we won't find anything.
Well, you thought Lich's cast range was crazy before. He's got a Psychic Headband.
Oh, boy.
And you're going to have an extra half a second on the Sinister Gaze in 3/4 of a level.
So up to 2.8. Very, very cool. Lenham. Where's the Aghanims?
I'm going to need to see it. What is that Glimmer Cape going to do, buddy?
Yeah, nothing. This really doesn't feel like an 8K lead. Like, it's felt like this is the highest it's been. Yeah, like I do not know how the net worth is not a lot different. I guess it's the Coddle difference.
Coddle of the light.
Yeah. Like it's... Huh. I mean,
he's holding on to a lot of gold, right? He's got 2,800 gold here on Karka. Hasn't bought anything. He's got a Lotus Orb queued up, and he has for quite a while. But, I mean, even then, what is that really going to do? I suppose force Sven to pop BKB earlier than he might like. You could get a counter Rupture going off here on XXS, but I feel like it's been a pretty rare instance where Karka's been in a position to be able to pop the Lotus Orb onto whoever's been engaged on. Like, that's not where you want to be as a Coddle.
Fly. A beautiful blink positioning from mate behind the tree line is going to try and attempt it on Ollie, but Orangey, it's now gonna just cost him his life once he returns back to the death of Aster.
Lanham's just like, here, the orange portal, that's where he is. Level 15, more Sinister Gaze, 130 gold away from the Ghost Scepter.
No, XXS is just going to force the Ignis and a TP from JT.
Really
He's also got White
here.
Album nearby as well. But with the RP on cooldown, it looks like JT will actually be able to finally put themselves on the board for which has felt like quite a while.
Still though, 10k net worth lead,
under attack.
nearly level 25
Radiant's
on the
bottom
Sven,
tower
who's
is
building
under
into
attack.
a Silver Edge. I mean, any extra little bit that's going to be able to allow the turnaround is always great. Also, fighting into the Ursa, you can disable that Fury swipes for
Radiant's
the very
bottom
start,
tower
so
has
that's always going to
fallen.
be nice and impactful. Well, there's heroes that loves to man fight, like even in a super disadvantageous position like he was around the Dire Tricamp, he was still kind of holding his own for a little bit here, of course, assisted with Ollie and the amount of healing that he was able to pump in onto him as well as with the overcharge, but I mean, you've got a level 18 Ursa against a nearly level 25 Sven. That just tells the story, and it feels like it's always the case with this Ursa unless he goes for a Battle Fury, which I don't think we've seen a single Ursa Battle Fury this time around.
I don't want to see a single Ursa Battle Fury as well. So, it's just, I
think Ursa has his spot,
Yep.
but it's not when he's being picked up. It's as like a last pick potentially,
Yep.
or when the enemy tri-lane has clearly been revealed already and it's an advantageous matchup.
Like, we saw the big issues with this hero at the Animajor. Like, you really, really rely on getting Second Roche on, which they didn't. They did not get Second Roche. They didn't give him the Aghanim Shard, even though it did get nerfed slightly. I mean, it's the shard no longer
Radiant's top
reduces
tower
cooldown
is
by
under
1.
attack.
So, like,
But
okay.
they still picked the Ursa into the Bloodseeker. Again, that's like
Yeah.
very confusing to me.
Like, Bloodseeker counters all 3 of their cores. And he hasn't even gone to Aghanims yet. Like, he's about to have it. Like, how, like, these fights are not going to continue to get easier, but you're right. Like, Ursa, he has his own lane to take games, but I feel like to offset his weaknesses, you need a win condition in your position too. Some Templar Assassin S cure, and they don't have that right now. And especially when you draft the Void Spirit in not the greatest lane matchup, like you highlighted, Mag is, yeah, unless the recent change to the Void Spirit, this is not a good time at all, and we really saw that.
I mean, the recent change to the Void Spirit is all about his like spell damage that he's able to do, which isn't really a factor in the early laning stage. You know, they changed nothing about his armor, they changed nothing about his attack damage. It's all basically around his ultimate, and a little bit, I suppose, towards his Aether Remnant.
Well,
but
one last desperation attempt from IG. Smoke on smoke, White Album. What's the BKB Ely? I mean, Io just got ripped apart. It was off the screen. Couldn't even see how fast he died from Monet.
Dire's
And
turret
now they're having to look to reposition. They haven't gone in just yet. Invictus Gaming not wanting to go deep into the depths of the Aster lineup. They might be forced to now with the RP off the mark. Let's see if this is going to cost Aster at the moment as Emo trying to assassinate the backline. The help of the Devil Damager and is bringing them back into this fire as Emo finds a double. Now they can turn towards Monet as well. The BKB on cooldown. There's no escape as the path to the high ground closed off thanks to the Remnant drag back from the Void Spirit. He's still relatively tanky thanks to the sustain, but it's just a slow, long, and painful death for Monet Sven.
How is it you heard not my
how does that happen? I mean, it's based off some poor execution, I suppose, coming through completely whiffed RP. You had people in different minds as to whether to hit the Will-O-Wisp. It was a good decision in the end. I mean, they used the Blood Thorn to instantly bring down that Io, which of course the buyback, it hurts a little bit, but not as much as giving up this third Roche.
Who was ruptured in that fight? Do you remember
I
seeing?
didn't see, actually.
Yeah, like I don't remember seeing
The
anyone.
Chain Frost wasn't great either. Like, it was right towards the end is when it got
But
popped off and it only hit onto one.
big props to IG. I mean, dude, I don't know how this game's even net worth wise. Like, again, it legitimately has not felt like this game has been close, and all of a sudden Ursa, hang on. He's a K behind the
Dire's
Sven.
middle tower is under attack.
I mean, it was the Ag Scepter, so that's why he's got so much net worth growth, and I believe he just bought the Aghanim Shard as well. So, I mean, there's huge signs of life now, apparently, in regards to the graphs and how they're feeling right now. IG, what a fight to bring them back in.
Dire's middle
Okay.
tower is under attack.
I'm back to live. I watched the replay. So what happened is one of the instances where I'm going to eat my hat. The Lotus Orb ended up coming in clutch. They popped it in onto the Ursa, so that Bloodseeker was very hesitant to want to get the Rupture in onto him. Allowed him to just walk around and be a complete threat in the team fight. It was followed up by JT on his Night Stalker, making sure to stay on top of him, keep that crippling fear silence there. He eventually did put it on the Night Stalker, but that was after he'd already kind of had them cordoned to the left side of the Roche pit. There were 3 heroes all standing over there on their own, away from the rest of the team, allowing the remainder of IG to just take out the targets one by one.
All right, well, we'll see if this big X Factor can come into play once again with the Lotus Orb, just getting rid of the Bloodseeker and potentially White Album. Uh-oh, maybe it's back into Aster. IG, they need to do something. What an Ignis! Controlling all 4. They're going to try and rip apart White Album as well, who doesn't get the RP off, and meanwhile, XXS is going to die too. Invictus Gaming? They've killed off 3. They're hunting Borax as well. Fly. He'll tear apart the Puncher. Oh my lord.
Wherever you go.
Is this one of the quickest net worth swings outside of a rapier that you've ever seen?
Dire's
What
Because
is
it
going
feels
on?
like it to me.
Dire's structures are fortified.
What?
Radiant structures
Invictus
are fortified.
Gaming. They are
Dire's middle tower
executing
is
these 2 fights. What an Ignis from Karkar, and
Dire's middle tower
Are they going to go for
has
the end?
fallen.
there's
They're
Mag
thinking
doesn't have
about
buyback. Alright, they'll force the Bloodseekers. Lenham's up in 10. You still got Monate's life as well.
Dire's middle barracks are
And
under
you've got the
attack.
Hex now as well on the Void Spirit. So let's see if Emo's keen to make any kind of plays. No. They're going to be very measured about things. Well, maybe it could be the fake back, though, still under the nighttime.
What the heck's going on wrong in these fights for Aster?
Good question. I mean, Monet just was a complete non-factor at that one. The RPs not being able to get off. I mean, it feels like all of the successful team fights that they took previously, it was a quick pick-off that allowed them to then snowball with their excess numbers. The Glimmer Cape picked up by Lanham, it's kind of been helpful a little bit, but it just means that he's more concerned about his own life because he's having to get this Glimmer Cape off onto someone else. And I mean, a Glimmer Cape is solved immediately by a Dust, or well, you've got a gem now on the Night Stalker and a Nullifier, so scratch that. The Ghost Scepter's not even helpful anymore.
Jumping again,
Got
they
in
found
again.
Monet. That's a key target to be able to bring down here. They're able to do so successfully.
buyback.
Monet doesn't have a buyback. Are we going to a game 3? We are!
Whoa!
What? IG! 2 fights is all they need to bring this back.
Radiant victory.
Man, that is definitely a bit of a rage GG. You still had the RP available and they got the Rupture off. I thought, yeah, maybe try for one more in case they're able to get like a 5-man. You still got a Magnus. You could still potentially cleave people down, but god damn, look at that turnaround. Just the win probability went from like 90% for Aster to 90% for IG in the space of like 4 minutes. Crazy.
My oh my. I mean, what a way to come back in this game for Invictus Gaming. It didn't feel like it was anything flashy at all as well. Like there wasn't, huge team fight ultimates. I mean, there was one from Karkar, but they didn't have a lineup where we could see like this huge vac back into extra, supernova S. Their team fight. They didn't have those heroes, but just how IG were able to execute. I'm so speechless. I don't know how they came back in this one.
I mean, it was just some whiffs, to be real, right? Like, White Album missed RP once, didn't get it off twice in the next team fights after that. Really great zoning out by JT as well, that has to be stated, allowing him to both take out heroes from the team fight, but then with the remaining gold, go into the Nullifier. It also means that they were quickly able to get in onto heroes like the Sven. And, even though trying his absolute best on the Lich, Lanham unable to save with the Frost Shield because that just gets instantly removed and suddenly that 70% protection isn't going to be really useful for anything.
Well, Invictus Gaming, they're not looking to go out in a 2-0 fashion here. They'll force a game 3, and well, I feel like the stage is set now for an incredible matchup. Aster, they want a little bit of revenge considering how blunderous those past couple of fights were. So they're really looking to come back, and I feel like with some revenge and see if they can still off the onslaught that Invictus Gaming are showing at the moment. But I mean, we're going the distance now. Game 3 soon up after our break. We got Invictus Gaming versus Team Aster for I-League. Don't go anywhere.